Okay, everyone say hi to the recording. Okay, thank you. I didn't see who reminded me, but thank you. I think was it you, Miguel? Did you remind me?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so just a plan of action really quick, right? We're gonna give you a quick introduction to features, specifically by me running through them. And then I'm gonna give you guys where I model the part, and then you guys are gonna follow along. And you guys can ask me questions in between, right? There's there's no unnecessary questions. All questions are valid. Then we're gonna make a independent practice, I believe, if I didn't switch that up already, where I want you guys to really practice yourselves creating the part and what that looks like in your head in your design process. And then for the second half, you guys are gonna model something. And then after time is up, I'm gonna model that part just so that we know where we're at. And then for the last part, it's gonna be your little challenge. I know some of you are more um have more practice with SolidWorks. And if you finish it early, that's totally fine. You can stay behind and ask me questions or figure something out. And breakout rooms, we already know the situation. If you're in the wrong breakout room, be aware that we are working with SolidWorks in this breakout room. If you want to work with Onshape, then you go on to Anikit's breakout room. Any questions about today's structure? No? Cool. Okay. So your introduction to features, right? In SolidWorks, and I'll show you guys on the interface when I stop sharing my screen, you have all of these options, right? You have your box extrude, your cut extrude, your revolve cut, and your revolve boss, which is the same thing as your extrusions, that the very simple ones, except they go around an axis. You have your swept boss, your chamfers, your fillets, and most importantly, and the most life-saving thing, it's your mirror entities and your line patterns, which you remember from our sketching patterns. It applies the same thing. And it's just a lot quicker to do when you have multiple actual parts and you need them for like design iterations or something like that, right? That went by really quickly. I'm going by it because I just want you guys to have this vocabulary, right? We'll be going over what these things look like once I access SolidWorks. So this is the part I'm going to model, and I'm going to show you guys first what each feature looks like. So let me exit out of this. Screen is paused. Oh, because I didn't share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see SolidWorks?
Yeah.
Yes, cool. Thank you, Walker. Okay, I'm gonna open a new document. Who remembers how to open a new document? Yes, okay. So Control N, very simple. The fastest one, the one I usually go to. SolidWorks is slow. Remember to be patient. Okay, up here, right, where we had our initial sketch tab, right next to it is the features. Features is just what we're gonna be using when we are, okay, what's that? When we are creating the 3D part. You notice that nothing is available to us right now except these two extrude boss and revolve boss. Why? Because we don't have a sketch. And remember, I mentioned in our first workshop that in order to create a 3D part, it all starts from the sketch, right? The 2D thing that we create and that we fully define. And I'll go over why we needed to fully define something in this workshop because some errors may occur, but that's good because I want you guys to see them. So part of the process of creating a 3D part is creating a sketch. So we're gonna go ahead and create a sketch. Let's go back to the house example, right? Let's imagine it's like a silhouette of a house. It's right on top of me in the table. I'm gonna imagine the top plane to be my table. And this is gonna be important because when you are wanting to create something, it should always be in consideration to your planes. This will come in really handy when you want to like create an extrusion on top of an extrusion, or you want to switch something, or the sketching plane, whatever it may be, always consider your planes in terms of real life. So I'm going to create a sketch. If you guys don't remember how to create a sketch or don't remember anything about this specific part of a workshop, interrupt me, I will explain it. So I'm going to make the house, yeah, let's make this origin here. Take a slightly different house from the one Aniket had, and I'm going to add a little just here, 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 and here. So what I'm going to do first before I create a part is I want to make sure everything is fully defined, right? That is the reason why we spent so much time in the first workshop, making sure you guys understood what it meant to have everything fully defined. Because if I move something or I don't want something to be in a specific way, once I create the part due to a specific dimension, it's going to mess everything up. I need to know where everything is and how everything is working. So I'm not going to waste time making this 2 different dimensions. I'm going to make this 2. Hi, Anamika. What's up?
Could you just show me really quick how you got from pressing top plane to getting the square on the screen?
Yes. Okay. So let me actually exit this sketch here. Okay. So to get the top plane, I can either select here, right click it, and then you see where it says this little grid line with a little sun on it. It says sketch. So I can just click on it and it'll automatically open up a sketch on the top plane. Let's say you don't have anything, like you don't have this sketch, and you first want to create a sketch. You have to select the plane. Just select the plane that you want. In this case, I want the top plane, so I'm going to select the top plane. Now, to get to the square, I'm going to go up here because remember, I am currently on the sketch tab. So I can just select either one of the features that it offers to me because I'm currently in a sketch. But that's regardless. Okay, never mind. And I'm going to select this one that says corner rectangle. Remember that you have different options. You have your corner, your center. I'm going to select corner because personally to me, the center isn't all that important right now. I want it to be to the origin because I want at least 2 of these lines to be defined because it'll be quickest. Because remember, in Solidworks, something is fully defined when it knows where it is in accordance to the origin. So I'm going to select that. And now I have the square. Did that make sense, Anamika?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I'm going to really quickly draft up again what I had. Okay, I want this to be fully defined. So I'm going to make this a square instead of a rectangle because that saves me time. Remember, to make something equal, you're going to see this in your design tree under properties. If you review the videos, you may remember what I said about these relations. I want these lines to be equal. So therefore, I'm going to click the equal relation and it'll make these lines the exact same length. Currently, it doesn't have the defined length, so I need to go ahead and include that using the smart dimension. So let's make this 3 inches, because remember, when I open SolidWorks, it will always have by default the IPS, and you can confirm that by the bottom left corner. Okay, so now I'm noticing this is lopsided. I don't want it lopsided. I want it to be smack in the center. So I'm going to click this bottom line here, or the center point, either one works. Select midpoint, shift, select this top point up here, vertical, now it's in the center. Now what you'll notice is the problem is that these 2 lines are still blue, and we do not want the blue lines. This can move, which means that what is underdefined is this line that is currently in orange. So that means that I need to give it a unit. I need to give it some sort of dimension. So I'm gonna highlight this, make it 1. I want symmetry in my house. So I'm going to select this one, Same thing, I'm going to apply equal. Does it make sense what I have done so far? I know I'm doing a quick little speed through. Is everyone following along? Cool?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. So this is still underdefined. Remember that the trick we can do, speed run, right? Move this up and down, side to side. If it moves up and down, it's lacking in length, more specifically a height or an angle. So I'm noticing that this is going up and down. I don't want it to go up and down. I know that I want symmetry in my house. So I'm gonna again apply the equal relation. It does not have a defined unit yet. So I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna steal the 3 inches here. And now that's defined. But I want this to be fully one thing. So I'm going to go into trim entities and I'm going to delete this line because I know if I do so, all of this becomes one singular perimeter. And now it's all fully highlighted, right? Do you remember sometimes you want it to be in the shaded sketch contours So when you go up here, you should see this be highlighted a dark gray. I wish I could zoom into my screen, but I cannot. Oop, exit to sketch tab. So diagonal lines into the center of the square. Yes, I can. So just for a preface, someone asked me to show how the diagonal lines got into the center of the square. So I'm just going to run through that really quickly. Delete this. So to get that, right, let's say I just really quickly, boom, boom, boom. I know that I want this to be smack in the center. And I know that this square is like the main body of my house. So I'm going to select midpoints because I know the midpoint, as it says in the name, is in the middle of the line. Regardless of the dimension, it's always going to select the middle point. Select this top point because I see that it is not centered. And I'm going to click vertical. When I click vertical, what happens is that SolidWorks envisions like one singular line. And so when I say I want this to be vertical, it's going to put it on that singular line to that same midpoint. Does that make sense? That's the reason why I selected the point that is already defined, this midpoint right here from this black line, because SolidWorks already knows where that is in relation to the origin. So when I select the vertical relation, I'm telling it I want it to be in this same line as this point that is defined. Did that make sense? You send me that through private message, and I don't want to I want to respect your privacy. So if that didn't make sense, send me a confirmation. But for now, I'm going to show how to fully define this line. So when you do that, you don't get the lines. You have to select on top here on this top interface. You see where it says, like, if I hover over it, it shows me an icon that says line. Click on that and then select the point at the bottom here. Select it and then drag out your cursor to the point that you want it and then select, like, click again. Try that out and then I'll circle back to you. But for now, let's fully dimension this. Also, thank you for the question. I really appreciate that. It's moving. Why is it moving? Ah, okay. New relation opportunity. You guys see how this is moving up and down? I could give it a height from here to here. And by here to here, I mean like from this line to this line. I could do that. However, remember, I said I want my house to be symmetrical. So, perfect opportunity for me to demonstrate to you guys collinear. I'm going to select this line and I'm going to select this line because I want my house to be leveled, right? And to be leveled, it needs to be on the exact same line. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to select collinear. And what that does, it again, same line. It follows that exact same line. So now it should be fully defined. I want to check in with everyone. Were you able to find how to press in the lines? I'll wait for you to answer in the chat. But okay, we're here. I want to make this 3D. I have a fully defined sketch, which is wonderful and awesome and great. So now I'm going to click onto the features and I'm going to see that this is now available to me. The reason why you do not see extrude cut or revolve cut or any of these cut options here is because there's no material for you to cut. So Solidworks is like, I can't give you that option or you cut into thin air. So I need to create that if I want these options to be made available to me. So I'm going to click extrude boss space. And now this is new. It's going to show me in the design tree the boss extrude feature, and it's going to show me these options. So I'm going to select sketch plane because that's what I just worked on. My top lines are still blue, but my sketch looks the same as yours. How come? You might be missing a relation. So move it, select the blue line and then move it up and down and see in which direction it's still moving. The direction that it's moving in is probably where you're missing either a dimension or a relation. If it's moving side to side, you're probably missing a width relation. If you're moving up and down, you're probably missing a height. So try doing that first. Yeah, cool. Okay. So now I want to walk you guys through, and this is going to be the same for each feature, right? Or most of them. The direction. You can switch the direction of your extrusion. So if I go this way, you'll notice that the arrow here this little arrow that's highlighted orange on my screen, I'll give you guys a second to look at it. It's not pointing downward because I reversed the direction. So SolidWorks, its initial direction will always be positive, so it's always going to be upward, right? So let's put it back to upward. See, now if I envision this on my table and it's telling me that it's going to go up, envision that it's going towards you. Does that make sense? So I'm now going to select whatever entities I want to do. So I'm going to, this is already highlighted, right? You can tell by the blue perimeter that's here, kind of hidden between that yellow highlight. Now this is the other important thing, this depth thing. So we're in inches, right? When you change this, you change by how much it extrudes in this case. So let's say I want it to be 4 inches. It's going to extrude upwards 4 inches. If I wanted to go downward in an extrusion, I'm going to switch the direction here, and now it's just going to go down. Does that make sense? Can I get a thumbs up if it makes sense, either through reaction or not? Cool, cool, cool. How does that extrude command? Okay. I'm going to run it back real quick. I'm currently in the sketch, right? In fact, let's make this normal 2. Normal 2 just means it's like right in front of me. Like if I'm looking in a mirror, it's right in front of me. Okay. When you're in a sketch, you're usually in the sketch tab. So you're going to switch over to the features tab, which is to the left. And now you're going to see this extrude boss space option. Click on it. And now if this is your only sketch, it will automatically select it for you. If it's not selecting the sketch for you, notice here how it says part 5. Click on the down arrow and you'll see the different sketches that you may possibly have. If it doesn't select your sketch, just select it and it should already highlight yellow for you or like highlight a darker color. Did that help you? Okay, cool. Thanks for the question, guys. So how big do I want this house to be? Yeah, screw it. Let's make 4 inches. Okay. You also notice that you have this second direction. I'm going to show you guys what that is. This second direction literally just is the opposite direction. So let's say I want this to be 5 inches. You see, now SolidWorks gives you the option to extrude in this direction and the other direction. It will not give you the direction to extrude diagonally because SolidWorks doesn't believe in that. But in the case, let's say you want to like, you have a very specific thing. Like you had like the profile of a specific slice and you wanted to go 4 inches this way and then 3 inches that way, you can do that. All you have to do is just switch the depth by which you're in. So let's say I want this 3 inches. Now the thing that's going towards me is 4 inches and the thing that's going to the bottom is 3 inches. And sometimes that comes in handy when you're manufacturing something very specific or like you want to test something from a specific depth. Did the second direction make sense? Does anyone need me to run through it again? No? Okay. And if you do, that's okay. Just let me know. But I don't want the second direction, so I'm going to deselect it. Yes, please. Okay. So let's deselect this just to show you guys. Right now, SolidWorks only knows one direction. That was funny, sorry. But SolidWorks only knows of one specific direction, and that's the one going upwards because that's the one I selected, right? SolidWorks can also extrude your part in 2 different directions. So I'm not sure this is for Onshape. That's the reason why I'm being very careful with this. But if you want the second direction, you see in your design tree, it says direction 2. Click the downward arrow, select it by the blue check, and you'll see that in my preview here, which is these yellow highlights, it's now going in that opposite direction from what I initially chose. So you can also change the depth of this. You can make it 5 inches. You can make it 10 inches. It's really up to you to what your design calls for. So for now, let's just make it like 3, right? Did that make sense? Tall? Cool, okay. So that's if you want a second direction. If you don't want it, that's okay. Just deselect it and it just takes you back to the original selection that you had. Okay, so now I'm gonna select okay. And that's by this green check, or you can press enter on your keyboard. Cool. And now it's a 3D part, guys. Congratulations. You made your first 3D part. This is exactly what it looks like. You'll notice that you have your the sketch of your house that you made, right? Now, the good thing about this is if I go in and something doesn't make sense, then I know it's probably because it conflicts with one of my dimensions, which is the reason why you want everything to be fully dimensioned. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. So now I want to show you guys how to do an extrude cut now that we actually have material to take away from. So, sorry guys, I'm sitting on the floor and my legs kind of hurt. But let's take you guys to an extrude cut. To make an extrude cut, you just have to have access to a sketch. So you can either go into the sketch here, right click it, edit sketch, and just include something here, right? I'd say I want these circles here. Let's say I want this one, 0.5. Let's not waste time here and make these the exact same equal. I'm speed running through this. This isn't critical to what I'm going to show you guys, but let's say I'm going to make this dimension from here to here, 0.5 as well. It's still moving. Yes, what's up?
It's still extruded, right? We're just only looking at the top face.
It's still extruded. We didn't get rid of it. All we did was access the sketch. That can be a little confusing. Let me demonstrate what I mean. Let me exit the sketch. Oh, okay. So all I did was, you see on the design tree, Carl? You see how if I press down, it shows me sketch 3? I'm going to edit it by selecting edit sketch once I right click it. And now I'm currently in my initial sketch. But your boss extrude did not disappear. It's still there. It's just that Solidworks knows that you're making an edit to your sketch. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so it gave you a little preview, and that's when I exit out of the sketch. There's 2 circles in my extrusion now, right? And that just means that when we were creating our boss extrude, Solidworks saw that you created 2 different identities and they're closed and it wasn't selected in your original boss extrude, right? So it's going to be like, oh, you didn't want that, so I'm going to erase it. I'm going to show you guys what that means in terms of selection. So I'm going to right click boss extrude, edit feature. Ooh, let's move this here. And you'll notice that in my preview, it does not include this blue line, these like blue circles, right? If I select this one and this one, you'll know that it's going to extrude that because it has the yellow highlight. It's extruding this upward to me. If I move this, you'll be able to see exactly what I mean. So because those entities were selected, Solidworks knows that I want these specific parts to be extruded out. If I want the rest of this house to be selected, and that's the reason why I suggested that you guys always have closed lines in your sketch, it'll extrude that one out as well. So I want this one to be included and this one to be included, then does it let me? No. It's a matter of you just selecting whatever interface you want it to be present. So you see here how it has sketch contour, sketch contour, sketch contour. You can deselect all of these. Select them. You'll notice how it now has a different shade. And now if you press boss extrude, all of them should be present, right? So let me walk you guys back through that because that was a lot of information. Once you create different features in your sketch, let's say it's no longer one singular perimeter, but rather inside the sketch, you have like circles or cutouts or whatever it may be. When you press edit your boss extrude, on selected contours, you can select back to the closed perimeters that you have. You saw me select the inside of this circle and the inside of the second circle, and that's because I wanted Solidworks to include that in my extrusion. If I did not want Solidworks to include that, then I don't select it. Does that make sense? Yes? Am I going too fast? Let me check the chat really quickly.
Could you just show how you like selected the circles one more time really quickly?
Yeah, okay. So let's clear selections here. Oh my God, what is it doing? Just save it? Okay. I'm gonna click edit feature. Currently it has all of them selected. So I'm gonna delete this one. And I'm gonna delete this one. You see how I have a hole in my preview? These two holes? I want to select them. So I'll see the chart right now. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna select this first circle. It highlighted a different color. And now it's gone. And I'm gonna select this other one. And now it's gone as well. You notice how now if I turn this by pressing down on the middle button of my mouse, you'll see that I no longer have those varying highlights. That makes sense? So all you have to do is just select within the profile of the sketch of whatever part you want to include. Yeah, I can show you. Did that make sense, Adrian?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to practice a little bit more, but thank you.
I can go over it one more time if you want.
Yeah, just how you get like to like that view of the sketch, like the sideways view. I'm not following how to get there.
Rotate it, you mean? Or like, how do I
Yeah,
still?
are you right clicking to like and holding down to rotate it or something?
Okay. You can see my mouse, right?
Yeah.
You see this button?
Oh, you
I'm
gotcha.
pressing down and I'm moving it. Yeah, that's how I'm rotating the screen. Circle is defined. Okay, yeah, that was my bad. Good catch. So let me first show you guys how to enter to the extrude one more time. So I want these selected. Cool. To enter your extrude boss, say you want to extrude something, you're gonna click at the top interface here, right next to sketch tab. You'll see a features tab. Select on boss extrude, and then on here it should show a sketch. Currently, let me exit out. Let's say I want to delete this. Yes, that's fine. You see how I have my sketch here? I want to extrude it, so I'm gonna go on top of right here, right under where it says Solidworks. Right next to sketch, there's extrude boss base feature. I'm gonna select it by clicking on it. And now it's telling me I can either choose a plane or an existing sketch. I worked on a sketch. I want it to be this one. So I'm gonna click on the bottom here. Since it's not already selected, I'm gonna click on sketch 3. It's rendering, sorry. And now it has it selected, right? And now if I didn't want these circles, all I have to do is go and select the contours, delete this right here, and just select this, select this outside perimeter. And now you'll see if I turn it, pressing down on my roll button here, it's now fully extruded. Did that make sense? How to start the extrude for the person who asked me? Okay, cool. Now, someone in the chat asked, the circles are not defined. Could you explain when you would need to define something or not? You should always be defining something. This is a mistake on my bad. I was being a bad mentor. Yes, these circles are not fully defined. And I only did that because I was speeding through it. But you should always have your circles fully defined. Because let's say, for example, I extrude something, right? And then I move this circle upwards, and then now it creates an intersection of a line because I didn't have it defined. Solidworks is gonna freak out and then you're gonna get an error. And you don't want that. You want to minimize the amount of errors you have because it will lengthen your lifespan because Solidworks will not yell at you. So the question to your answer to the person who asked me is you should always have your sketch defined. Always. This was bad practice. This is an example of a bad practice. So this shouldn't have been a thing, but it was. So now I'm gonna walk you guys really quickly on how I'm gonna dimension this. Oh, to the person who asked me about their lines still like moving, you see how this is blue? If I select it, if I try moving it up and down, it doesn't move. And that's because it already has something that's restricting it. But if I move it horizontally, it does move. So therefore, I know that I'm missing a distance in the x-axis, or rather something horizontally, to stop me from moving. So I know that its distance is varying when I move it to the left and to the right. So I'm going to smart dimension. Can you not? Sorry. Select smart dimension at the top here, the center point, and right here. And I'm going to 0.7, and now it's fully defined. No, you're fine, you're fine. It was good that you did. Good catch. Okay. This is missing a height. Actually, let's just make this, let's use my relations. I love relations, guys. It's my favorite thing. Horizontal. Okay, now this is fully defined. Let's exit sketch. Cool. Okay, now that's how you would create, say you don't want to create a cut extrude, then you would add something in your sketch to like select those interfaces automatically. But let's say you wanted to take it one step at a time. Let's say you did not have to worry about how many boss extrudes and cut extrudes you had to add. In that case, someone had asked me if I was at the top base of this boss extrude. Now I would be. So I'm gonna right click here. I'm gonna put normal to. That's usually my process. I go normal to this. And I'm gonna select where it says, I'm gonna right click it and I'm gonna press sketch. So what that does is I'm on a sketch, but I'm sketching on the surface of this specific face of the house. Does that make sense? Okay. I probably froze on that part. I'm so sorry. My entry's a little wonky. But I am now in this sketch. I usually, when I create a sketch on top of another face, I'm going to use something that's called convert entities. And that's what I said I was going to bring up to you guys in the videos and in the last workshop. Convert entities, all that it does is that it takes the lines of your part and it makes them an actual drawing. And it's super cool because that means I don't have to go in and like do this number where I have to go one by one and do it with the line feature. So I'm going to press convert entities and I'm going to hover over until this perimeter is highlighted, right? I'm going to select it and I'm going to press check mark. And now you'll see that I created a sketch simultaneously without having to go back and manually do one by one, right? Saves me a lot of time and it's super cool because I don't have to go back and just make sure that everything's fully defined. It's already defined for me. So now I want to make a cutout.
Hey, real quick.
Yes.
How did you not get rid of the or how did you get rid of the circles again?
Yeah, okay. Let me exit out the sketch. Let me roll back. Oh, I'm gonna show you guys this. This is called a rollback, and I'm just selecting this bottom bar and putting it upwards. And when I do that, it like suppresses that part. If you guys want to keep track of that, or if you guys wanted to like not see something, you could do that. But to answer your question, Walker, to have the circles be incorporated in my extrusion, all I did was go to selected contours in my design tree. And you see how it says region 1, region 2, and region 3? I just select that region. So let me show you again really quickly. Let's say I want to select this region. I want to select this circle right here.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So now I'm gonna unroll my last sketch because I want to access it now. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna edit the sketch, and now I'm back. Did everyone catch that? Can I get a thumbs up? Cool. Okay.
So, question about orientating the view.
Yeah.
Okay, so like on that top bar underneath the SolidWorks cam, like those cubes, you can press them, right?
Yeah.
Like that one. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you press that and like you choose a corner or something.
This one?
Sure. So like, or maybe like another corner, I don't know, but like sometimes if I choose a face, like for example, my house will be like sideways or something. Is there a way to like flip it vertical?
You mean like
If that makes any sense?
sometimes it'll be like this, like on this side?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Or like, can you go back to the cube thing again?
Yeah.
Okay, and then can you press one of the faces? Like any of the faces works. Sure. Okay, yeah, and then let's say I want it to be like vertical, because that's on the side of the house, right?
Yeah, this is on the side. Okay.
Is there a way to like
Yeah.
rotate like 90 degrees upwards or something?
You could, okay, there's a couple things. You could rotate entities here, move entities, right? So if you look at the top in your sketch tab, under linear sketch pattern, there's this thing called your move entities. Personally, I don't use it because I just use my mouse and like, ooh, can you see it? Ooh, ooh, and this middle button, and I like press down on it and I just rotate it. But if you
Yeah.
wanted to use that, you could. It's if it lets me. I don't typically use it. I think the most common thing that we do is just you use this middle button here, and then you just shift it until like the house is where you want it. I want it semi like that, and then I want it right in front of me, right? So I'm gonna right click on that face, and it should give me the option to put it normal too. I don't see it currently, but it's not showing me. Okay. It's in the top plane, so actually you could just put normal too. But do you have a mouse by any chance, Ryan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You could use the
Well,
mouse
it makes sense what you're doing. I was just wondering if there's like another way to do it.
an easier way. I know there is. I know there's a fast like hotkeys that you can use. I just don't have it set up currently because I wanted to walk you guys step by step going through the interface. But I'll find it for you, and then I'll remember your name. And
I have
I'll
a suggestion really quick. If you hold down the right mouse button and you just like drag your mouse up. I did it on accident, honestly, but
Mhm.
it like
Oh, yeah. That works.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys. I'm seeing. How did you sketch on the object? Okay. Hold on, guys. I'm looking through the chat real quick. Yes, I'll go through that process again. Control A helps too. Yes. Thank you guys for the suggestions on chat. I like that you guys are helping each other. I'm gonna walk through how to get to sketch on the object again. Cannot see the 3D model I ran. I can only see an outline. Is there a way to fix this? Alexander, stay within your sketch and then go to the features tab and then put the boss extrude feature. Try that out. And then if not, send me another message.
Okay, I'll try that.
Okay, cool. To get this sketch on this face, what I did was I used convert entities. So let me just get rid of this really quickly. Oh, it didn't do that. Hello, thank you. Okay. My leg fell asleep. Okay, so I want to get this sketch on this top face, right? So I'm gonna exit out trim entities. And what I'm gonna use is you could sketch the outline of this house. That's very valid. You could do that. However, it's a little time consuming. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna use this convert entities feature. And what it does is it takes the perimeter of whatever I highlight and it makes it a sketch. So it makes a sketch for me basically. So I'm gonna, you see how it's highlighted orange? That means it's ready to click. So I'm gonna click it. It says phase 1 is gonna be my convert entities. I'm gonna press OK. And now I have the lines. Did that make sense to the person who asked me that? I can select the object. I'm trying to think of what the possible error could be. Try selecting the line one by one. That's because that's one of the things about Solidworks. Sometimes it's trippy about getting the commands. But don't worry too much if you can't get it. We can share screens at the break time so you can show me. My phone since we're still blue. I have added to make them. They can move vertically. Okay, to answer this person's question, by the way, the question was, all the roof lines are still blue. What relations could you add to make them vertical? Select on the very top vertex of your triangle and make it vertical to the midpoint of the bottom line of the house. And then after that, make the two lines of the triangle be equal to each other. And then after that, add a unit dimension to that. So make it like the length of the lines can be 2 inches, 3 inches, whatever you choose. Someone else had asked me a question. Sorry, guys. Have to get rid of the yellow part of the circles. It remains for some reason. Yes, I can show that process again. So let me exit out of this really quickly. Boss extrude. Okay. You see where it says selected contours in my design tree? I'm going to put clear selections. And if I turn this, you'll see that it has the house selected, but not the circles. If I hover over the circle, I select it. Hover over this other circle, I select it. You turn it, you see now that it has that preview, it means that it's going to extrude it. So now I want to extrude this house as well. I'm going to click on it. And now under selected contours, you'll see that it has sketch contour 1, like the house perimeter, and then sketch contour 2 and 3 are just little circles. So just make sure that all 3 of these things are in there, because it's just basically showing you like this closed line and this closed line and this closed line are selected. And another way to fact check that is if the yellow highlight is also extruding like completely, like there's no gaps. Does that make sense? I'll circle back with you on that one then. Okay, going back to the sketch part. Really quickly, let's just say I want this circle here, right? This thing that I originally had. Okay. 0.4. Fully sketching it because I don't want to make the same mistake again. Three inches. Okay. It's fully sketched now, right?
Wait, so you're adding a new circle?
Yes, just to show
Okay,
you
cool.
guys the example. Yeah. So I'm still in my sketch. And if I'm still in my sketch, I can still select another feature. So I'm gonna select extruded cut, so sorry. So I'm gonna select it. Now, you'll notice that the thing that is highlighted is the entire house. I do not want the entire house to be selected. So I'm gonna clarify to Solidworks and I'm gonna say, hey, the one thing I want cut out of this 4-inch depth house is this circle. So I'm gonna select it. And now you notice that it has this arrow going through all of the house and that circle, which means it's going through all of it, right? And let's say that's something that I do want, then that would be totally valid. However, under directions 1, you will see that it has all these other options. Through all, both is very intuitive. It's just like cutting through all of it. If it's through all both, it's cutting through both directions because let's say it's in the smack center. Up to next just means up to like whatever may be here. Up to surface is also the same thing. Opposite from the surface is the one I wanted to show you guys. So let's say it's like opposite from the surface. Let's say the dimension I want it to be 3 inches. Like it's gonna be like a little bit off the surface. This one isn't really used commonly, if I'm being honest with you. Up to body or mid-plane are the ones that are used the most. Mid-plane just means that it's gonna cut out 3 inches, right, of this little cylinder that we've made. But instead of it going all the way through, this is gonna take half of it because it's in the mid-plane. So only 1.5 is gonna go in the house, and the other 1.5 is gonna go the other direction. Does that make sense? It's a little confusing. It's a little better once you guys start practicing a little more with it, but just know that that's an option. But for now, I wanted to go through all the way, and I'm gonna choose blind. Blind just means it's gonna follow my direction and how much depth I wanted to take out. So I want it to be 4 inches. That is 400. That is not what I wanted. So 4 inches. And if I press OK, it's gonna cut through all of it, and you'll see that only the circle will be missing because that is the only thing that I selected in my selected contours. And you can check that because it says Sketch 4 Region 1. Direction 2 also exists in extrude cut, and it's the same thing as extrude boss, except it's going the other way and it's taking away material. In this case, there's nothing to take away material from, so you can't really use it. But in the case that you were smack in the center of something, you could. So let's press OK. Cool. Now, if I go to like normal 2 in this face, you see it's a complete cut through. And now it's extrude cut. These other things, I don't think you guys will use. However, I do want to show you guys, before I get to revolve bus and swept boss, the mirror part. The mirror part is so cool because it saves you so much time. So I want you guys to know how I'm going to try and use it, and it's going to give me like a funky thing. So let's say I want this circle to be on the other side of my house. So I'm going to select features, and I'm going to select extrude. Do you guys know why I can only select extrude cut or boss extrude when I'm using this mirror, this specific mirror? Anybody want to take a guess? That's okay. The reason is because this specific mirror is used only for features, whereas the other mirror, the first one I showed you guys in Sketch, can only be utilized within a sketch. So this one means that if I want to mirror something, it has to be a feature, which is the reason why I can extrude a boss, or I can extrude a cut, or whatever other function I use within the features tab. So let me show you guys what I mean. I can't select sketch in my features to mirror function because it's not a feature, it's a sketch. So I have to select a feature. I hope that makes sense. And if it didn't, let me know. So mirror and face plane. Again, I wanted to copy, right? I wanted to just transfer over. I can't use top plane because I am on the top plane. I could use the top plane, and I can't use front plane because it's at the bottom. So I chose right plane. You will notice that it is on the opposite side. It's not on the side that I want it to be. Why is that? Does anyone want to take a guess as to why it's on the opposite side?
Is that because that's where the axis is? And it's just mirroring off of the axis? Okay, cool.
Exactly. Can you go over cut extrude again when you get a chance? Yes, let me finish explaining mirror. Okay. Walker mentioned it was because of the axis, and that is entirely correct. That's why when we are making our sketch, the axis that Solidworks always follows is the one of the origin, right? You guys notice this red arrow here, the one that goes up and to the side? Solidworks only knows that. And so when it's creating its planes, it's in relation to that origin, the origin that's smack in the center of all 3 planes. So that means if I want the right plane to go through the center of this house so that I can mirror this feature, I have to switch this origin, which is sometimes why you can't always just place the origin wherever you want. If you want things to be easier, your origin should be smack in the center of whatever it is that you choose to do. So let's delete this coincident relation. And let's say I want to select this origin here. And I want to select this center point here. I'm going to press coincident. Oh, it doesn't let me. Why is that? Overdefined. Okay. I'm going to delete this. That's the reason what's causing it. I'm going to move this. Select. Let's try it again. Yeah. Okay. So I had to move it first. Otherwise, Solidworks was still kind of confused. So now it's smack in the center, which means if I check my planes, you see how this right plane is now going through the center of my house because my origin is now in the center of my house. So that's going to work. So let's exit out of this one. Let's sketch. Cool, it didn't break. I'm going to select mirror. Same thing. I want to copy my extrude cut. The mirror that I want to use is my right plane. And now you'll notice it's copying over exactly where I want it to be because it's now on the other side of my axis. How did you delete it? I'll show you right now. So I'm going to press OK. And now it's smeared. So that's the cool thing about features. And the thing is that you can select as many features as you want in the little box where it says features to mirror. Someone asked me how I deleted the relation. I'll show you right now. Let's say this one. I'm going to hover over it. I'm going to right click it. And then it's going to show me this option to delete. And I'm going to delete it. And then I'm going to, yeah, it should be done. Did that make sense? Person who asked me. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna redefine this one more time. Okay, let me take a look up the chat. Can you go over cut extrude again when you get a chance? Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna roll this back. Cut extrude is the same thing as boss extrude, except it's taking away material, right? I still need to select it. So currently what you're seeing is I have the perimeter of the house and then I have this inside circle. I'm going to select this circle because that's what I wanted to cut out. So I'm going to select it. And you'll notice that the cut extrude command works by showing me what material it's going to take out. So the steps is select cut extrude and then select whatever contour you want to take out of the image. Did that answer your question? Matthew? Okay, cool. Cool. So now we went over boss extrude, we went over extrude cut, we went over the mirror feature. You could also do a linear sketch pattern, which, as you will imagine, is the exact same thing as we did in the drawing. So let's say you want to copy this feature and make a linear pattern out of it. I'm going to select the line, my x-axis and direction one to be this one. Let's select this one. Let's say I want it to be 3 instances. I'm going to separate this by 0.5. Ooh, go the opposite direction. You guys see how it's doing the exact same thing as in the linear sketch pattern? It's the exact same thing. There, it changes nothing. It's just the only thing that it's switching up for me is the feature itself. So if I press select, right, you'll notice that I have boss extrude 1 because it's the feature that I want to linear sketch pattern. It will allow me to do so. And so now the things that I cut out, it's going to show up in that pattern. That part makes sense. It's very similar to, I realized I cut out, that part makes sense. It's very similar to the linear sketch pattern. Can I get a thumbs up if it did? Yes. Cool. Does anyone need me to recap before I go to revolve bus and swept boss / base?
Can you recap? Sorry, I missed it. How to get the origin to that center point?
Yes, I can. Okay. So I'm not gonna go back
That's
on that.
okay.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Sorry. I'm realizing my internet's like iffy, guys. I'm so sorry.
All good.
So okay. Let's get rid of this coincident. Should be able to move this now. Yeah. Okay. Let's say this is originally where it was now, the coincident part, right?
Yeah.
We want it to be in the center. To do that, I first need to delete the coincident relation, which if you'll remember is right click, delete. I'm gonna move this, otherwise Solidworks is gonna freak out. And I'm gonna select this point here. Midpoint. I'm gonna select the origin. I'm gonna make it coincident.
Okay, coincident. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And now it's in the center.
Sweet.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just forgot to move it, I think, because I deleted the thing, but then SolidWorks freaked out because I didn't.
Yeah. That's okay.
It.
Okay.
Cool.
Any other questions that I can answer before we move on to the boss swap or whatnot? No, we're good. Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. This is more of a lecture. I'll give you guys the price to practice shortly. Okay. So I put this off because I don't like using it, but revolve boss, and swept base can be very handy to use when you're doing circular tangent relations, right? No one likes working with circular things. They can be fun, they look cool, but it's usually just not something that we do. So let's say, let's go, let's roll this back actually. Let's say I don't want to use any of that. It's not gone, it's just suppressed. Okay, I just want to clarify that. Let's say I want to make a new sketch. Let's say let's say I want to make a vase. I'm gonna create a sketch, and I'm gonna create a sketch in, if I'm imagining this on top of a table, either a front plane or the right plane. I'm gonna just select the right plane. Now let's say I want to make, oh, can you show one time how to suppress? Yes, okay. So before I jump into making my little cool vase here, this is called a rollback. If you go to my design tree here to the left side of the screen, you'll see that I have a little hand that's like this. This is called rollback bar. So, oh, it didn't freak out. Sick. Okay.
Yes.
So if you put the rollback bar in front of a specific part or feature, it'll suppress it. You could also select, right click the specific feature, and it'll right next to edit feature, it says suppress. You can also do that manually. If you want to do it all in one sweep, you could just do the rollback bar. Did that answer your question, Tal? Cool. Okay, so back to the base. We selected the right plane. Now I'm gonna select the midpoint line. Did it select it? No? Cool. I'm gonna select here. And remember, whatever part I extrude, it's gonna be the same for the opposite because it's a definition of a midpoint line. I'm actually gonna make it a construction line because it's not gonna be part of my final design. Okay. Now I want to make a vase. When I think of a vase, very quickly, I'm thinking this, and then I'm thinking of an arc, specifically a tangent arc. So let's see how this works. Maybe like this, and then I'm going to select a line here. This part was not planned, guys. This is the reason why you're seeing me walk through it. I wanted you guys to have an example of like the walking through part. This isn't me flexing. You're gonna see me struggle, but it's okay. We'll struggle together. Okay. I'll give you guys to copy that down. Were you guys able to copy it down? Do you guys need more time to copy this feature down?
Did you get that little X at the midpoint of the construction line again?
Oh, that's just the origin.
Oh,
I can walk
okay.
you past how to do that again here. It just created a point because I created a midpoint line. And it just automatically do that. So I'm gonna go on top here, select the midpoint line. I'm gonna click on the origin, and I'm gonna extrude out. And it'll create it automatically. Did that make sense, Carl?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so construction line. Cool. Oh, Sina, you're back. Okay. I'm gonna start off by dimensioning this. Let's make this 5 inches. Let's make this, stop. 8.5. I can do that because the arc isn't fully defined. 3.5, I want nice numbers here. It's still moving. It's still moving because this line isn't defined yet. So let's say I make this 7.75 inches. Cool, these lines are now defined. Now let's say I move this. What's still moving is my point here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a vertical relation right here. Cool, now it's fully defined. You see, this is why we use our relations. It's so much quicker to use. And I didn't have to do the arc relation, not the arc relation, the arc defining, because it's restricted already by this vertical point and the distance of this 3.5. For that, if you didn't get that, just mess around with it. It's okay. If you need me to walk through what I did, chat. Yes, I can. Okay, let me Control Z this, if it'll let me. Yeah. I'm gonna just dimension this over one more time. Okay, we started by first defining this top line, right? Let's say I wanted this to be 5.5. I'm gonna dimension this bottom line here. I'm gonna make this 3.75 this time. Should be smaller. It's still blue. Maybe it's this line. So let's make this 3.75. It's still blue, so I'm gonna mess around. I'm gonna move this. It's not moving side to side, but it is moving up and down. which means I am lacking a height. And this height is determined by this construction line. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to make this 8.75 this time. It's still blue. Why is it still blue? Let's move this around. This point is not set in stone yet, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this point, select this bottom point, and I'm going to select vertical. Did that make sense, Jonathan? Did you need me to go through that one more time? Because if you do, that's okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So now this is defined. Now the thing about this is that a vase is circular, right? It goes all around. So what feature am I going to use, guys? There's only really one answer, if I'm being honest.
Revolved.
Yes. Correct. Revolve. So I'm going to select revolve. It's open. Who can guess why it's open? I promise you it's probably the one you're thinking of. No? That's okay. It's open because... Okay, so now you didn't need to do all that. But yes, remember Calc 2. It thought it had an open line. And remember, this is why I said all your lines need to be closed. Everything needs to be shaded in if you have the selected contours on. Because if you want to create a revolve boss or an extrude boss, whatever it is, Solidworks can't do that unless it knows it's a definitive thing. Does that make sense? In this case, I told it that this construction line was actually not a closed line, so it accepted it. And now you'll notice that this is a huge base, but if you select the revolve, my revolution, right? Let's walk you guys through this. Okay, my axis of revolution is going to be this line in the center, this construction line, because I know that I created something of symmetry because I basically only sketched out half of the base, not all of it, just half of it. Okay. Marcus the blue, even with the vertical relation, do you know why? You might be missing the horizontal relation or the perpendicular relation. The very bottom line should have a horizontal relation. Try that out, Matthew.
But what is it a horizontal relation to? Or the bottom line is horizontal. Is it perpendicular to the construction line?
You can try that as well. Yeah, it will still give you that horizontal relation. But if that doesn't work, try a horizontal relation to the end point of this construction line right here. I'll give you a couple seconds. Did that work, Matthew?
No, it didn't.
Okay. Hold on, guys, because someone else could also be having this problem. Okay. You have this vertical relation. Check the sketch, right? All the relations and dimensions are shown. What could you be missing? Is the construction line also a vertical line? Does it have the vertical relation present?
I just took a picture of it. I'll try to match up the relations exactly so you can
Okay.
continue.
If you still have trouble
Yeah.
with that, let me know and we can walk through this together.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Cool. Okay. Almost done, guys. So sorry. It's taking me a little longer than I thought. Okay. Let's revolve base this. Yes, I know. Okay. So you guys notice now that this axis, this construction line is my axis of revolution because it's smack in the center of whatever I envisioned this base to be, right? It's blind, so it's gonna go all 360 degrees. You change the degrees, you change how much it revolves around this axis. So let's say I wanted to make it 270, it's only gonna go 3/4 of the way. If you wanted to make it 180, it's only gonna go 180 of the way, right? Does that make sense to everyone? Cool. Okay. I'm gonna select okay. And now you have this space. I cut off. Did you guys hear the last part? Okay, cool. You'll notice that when it gave me that warning of it's an open sketch. If you don't want it to give you that warning, instead of using a construction line, use a solid line. So don't switch it over to construction. Keep it solid if you don't want to see that warning. If you do, don't freak out. It's just Solidworks throwing a fit. Work through it, and Solidworks will understand. Okay. Now that we know how to do revolve, I'm going to show you guys lastly how to do the swept boss in base. Swept cut is the same thing. It follows the same process. It's just taking away material. And I'll let you guys play with that one later. But okay. We are here. Okay. Let's select this top plane here. And let's hope it doesn't freak out on me. I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to select the top plane. And I did that specifically because I kind of want to make a little straw coming out of it. But anyway, I'm going to select this. I'm going to make this circle. And I'm going to explain why as I am dimensioning the circle. The way swept works is it has two versions. It can either be a circular sketch or just following a pattern. Either way, you need a circular sketch. The one I commonly use is the circular sketch pattern. Can you please stop yelling at me? Thank you. I'm gonna select exit sketch, right? This is my first phase. Now, the reason I chose top plane is because I needed to have this and then have this. It'll make more sense once I use a feature, but let's select front plane. Number 2. Stop it. Let's create a sketch here. And let's say I want this sketch to be from here to here. This is underdefined. It's more than likely missing an angle. No. Also, guys, ignore the warning that it's telling me check your system. It's literally because I have no more storage in my computer. Why could you be? Missing the height from here. Okay. That's okay. It keeps yelling at me. How embarrassing. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Stop doing that. So now let's say I want to use the swept boss base. Sorry, guys. My brother entered the room. Sketch profile. I'm going to select here. And then you'll see here that it has highlighted. Like if you zoom into my screen, I'm so sorry that I can't. It shows like the circular sketch pattern, which was sketch 7, right? The one that I drew on the top plane. And then the little path that it's going to follow essentially is going to be this sketch. So now you see this preview. This preview is telling you that this is what it's going to look like, right? That's how the sketch profile section of sweep works. Does anyone need me to run through that again?
How did you define that top line again? The angled one?
You're fine. Let's go into sketch, edit sketch. Okay, so I first dimensioned this angle, and then I missed the heights.
Yeah, no, I got it. It was the,
Cool.
yeah. Cool.
I'm gonna give everyone a couple of seconds just to see the sketch in case you guys missed it. Let me know when you guys are ready to go. Alexander, you're doing okay? Yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out like that. I was just checking in. Okay. So let's go back to swept boss space. You guys know, oh my God, Solidworks is embarrassing me. But you guys now have the circular sketch pattern and the path that it follows, right? We now understand that. What happens if you select circular profile? All it does, it follows only the path. But you could change the diameter. So let's say I want it to be a very chunky straw. because I don't know why we would be drinking out of a vase, but let's say we are, then it changes the diameter of the circular pattern. So 3 inches, that's how it goes. This is typically the easiest. However, what becomes tricky of using sweep sometimes is that you have to create a specific plane depending on whatever your part is demanding of you. I won't go into that because I'm already eating away at the time that I wanted to give you guys to practice. And I want you guys to have extrude boss and extrude cut down. So, oh. Okay. Let's say I'm gonna use this one because I didn't go through all that trouble of selecting my sketch pattern without using it. So select it. Cool. Now you have a vase with a straw in it because I don't know why you would need it, but now you have it. Okay. So we went through a lot. I'm pretty sure I hit all the parts that, oh no, I'm missing one. Okay, this fillet part. This one is so cool. If you remember our first workshop, this is the last thing I'm going to show you guys, by the way. If you remember the last workshop, I said that you might want to avoid using sketch fillet or sketch fillet. You guys can comment on that later. I don't know how to say it, but because it crowds your dimensioning, it crowds your sketch. So sometimes it'll be better to use it when you are in features because you can select multiple at a time. And by that, I mean, let's say I want to fillet this thing and this thing and this thing, right? I can select multiple at a time and it won't yell at me, which is super cool because I don't like getting yelled at. And then 0.3, right? The way this looks is it just rounds out your corners. That's all it does. You see? I selected multiple at a time and it's all kept within one little feature packet, which is this fillet one, which is really cool because it saves time and it doesn't overcrowd anything. It's super easy to read, super easy to manage. Similar to the way we code, like the way Ryan taught us, you want to keep everything as concise as possible so that it's easy for you to read, so it's easy for other engineers to read, and so on and so forth. Did that last part make sense? Yeah? Okay. Now I'm going to show you guys. I know, I just keep adding things on. I'm so sorry. But let's say I wanted to include chamfer. Chamfer just like makes an angled corner. So I don't know if it'll allow me to show you guys. I'll probably have to get rid of suppress this fillet first. Hold on. Suppress. Let's select chamfer. Cool. So let's say I select this. You guys notice how now instead of it being rounded, it's more like an angle. Do you guys see that? Let me try and zoom in. I can also select multiple parts here, right? I can also select this one. I don't think I can select this one. That would be a little weird, but I can select multiple, right? There's different ones I can select. I typically use the angle and dimension one. That's the most common one we use. I want to change the angles, no problem. I can, let's not select 80, that's a crazy number, but I can select 60. I can select maybe 30. 45 is the most typical one that you'll see. You can also change the dimension. It'll vary per whatever specific feature you want to do. So let's click OK. That's what this looks like. You'll notice that chamfer takes away more material in comparison to a fillet, because fillet just rounds it out. A chamfer actually takes off distance and an angle, but that's the way that looks. That's the way you apply it. Chamfers, I believe, are probably not, no, they aren't. They're probably available to you on Sketch as well. But again, I recommend the same thing. Keep your sketch as simple as possible. If you need to round things out, if you need to angle these corners out, do it in your features. It's super easy to manage, super easy to edit, and it's not overcrowded, right? Okay. That's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys. I can probably make, are you guys interested in learning about swept cut, loft cut, revolve cut, loft boss base? I won't put you guys through that right now because I just threw a bunch of information at you. But I will send out a video about it if you guys are interested in that. Cool? Okay. Let's take a deep breath. It's practically 7:50, but before we go, can anyone reiterate to me what are the things that we learned today in this workshop? Doesn't have to be all of it. It could be some of it. Preferred if multiple of you guys shared. whether that's sketch relation dimensioning or the features we used. And if you want to share.
Chamfers.
Yes, chamfers. Good job. Jonathan, what's one thing we learned today? Ooh, chat. Whoever sent me a private message. Yes, that's correct. That's fine. So make sketches.
Revolve.
Yes, revolve. Thank you, Fallon. Yes, that's true. Yes, you can move the origin.
Opposite
Anyone?
directions for
Yes.
extruded this.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we did learn how to use the extrude feature. Good, good. Okay, I'm glad you guys are following along. Let me pause my share real quickly. Let's do a 10-minute break. We'll come back at 8, and we'll jump over to you guys doing the practice runs. Does that sound good with everyone? Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. So I'll meet you guys back here at 8. Because Mika recorded me. He reminded me to record. Thank you. Okay. So let me walk you guys through what this one is. I got this one because of the Solidworks practice package, which is what you do when you get your CSWA, right? This is the part that you guys are going to model. I want you guys to pay attention to the unit system. Your unit system is MMGS. It's not IPS. So change that first. Your point of origin is arbitrary, which means it doesn't matter where you put it. Your material type is steel and galvanized steel. If you don't remember how to change your material type, that's okay. Because my SolidWorks is not working, I can actually walk you guys through what that is. Your density is just a way for you to check your material type. The mass is the last mass you should get after you're done with your part modeling. So don't worry about that right now. Just focus on modeling the part. So you guys can go ahead and try that out while I try to resolve my current issue. Does anyone have any questions at all?
How do I change the unit system and then the material type?
Okay, so for the unit system, and I'm going to try my best here because I don't have SolidWorks in front of me, go to the bottom right corner. Do you see where it says IPS currently?
Yes.
Okay, click on it. It should show you the options for MMGS. I think the other one's like CKS or
Yep,
something
I
like
changed
that.
the MMGS. Thank you.
Yes. And for the material type, go to your design tree. You'll see material, right click it, and then it'll show you the option to edit material. Do you see it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna pause share. Okay. And I'm gonna stay on the Zoom for right now. I'll let you guys know if I have to hop out. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll give you guys like 15 minutes to do that. And don't freak out if you don't finish it. That's completely okay. Oh, and you guys should probably open a new document. So not on the current one that you guys have, but a completely new document. Okay. Let's put this screen. Okay. Should you still? Yes, I should. And thank you. We were on the same wavelength. Okay. Let's move this down here. Okay. Speed run, because we don't have, I want to get you guys to where you guys are at. Okay. So when I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking basic geometry, right? I'm seeing two circles. I'm seeing an extrusion in two directions. And I am seeing this like weird little base thing, right? First off, can everyone see my screen? My SolidWorks screen.
Yes.
Very cool. Okay. So change of units, MMGS. Basic operating standing procedure, however you say it. I am aware that I need to have, what is this here? Ooh, galvanized steel. I'm gonna scroll through here. Galvanized steel is right here. I'm gonna apply and I'm gonna close. Okay, that is set up. Now I can fully focus on making this part because when I check afterwards, that's the main important part. 7 minutes. Okay, let's not cry. Okay, I'm seeing the basic geometry is two circles. So I'm gonna think of this as if it's standing on top of this table. So top plane up here, it tells me that my origin does not matter, which is super cool. So that means I'm going to make two circles first. Bam, bam. I'm gonna go first, but what I know, and that is the fact that there is actually this inside circle here is 20 millimeters. This other circle here is 6. We good. Okay. I know that there is 38 millimeters in distance between these two circles. So I'm going to set that to 38. SolidWorks can't keep up with me. That's what's lagging. Anyway, I'm going to make this here, this bigger circle. I'm noticing it has a 6 millimeters distance between another bigger circle, right? Because again, the way I'm thinking about this is I'm breaking this into its simple geometry, right? That should always be our goal. Because it's something that's easier for us to digest, right? It's easier for us to work with this. So I'm gonna select that perimeter. I'm gonna select this perimeter. You will now notice that there's 2 arrows going from one smaller circle to the bigger circle, which is exactly what I want. It's telling me the distance between this circle and this outside circle is actually from its perimeters and not its center point. So I'm gonna select that. I'm gonna click 6 millimeters here. Boom, that's set. Okay, now I'm noticing that actually the same can be applied to this smaller circle because if you see here, it is telling me that there is a distance between the very outer part of this thing there to this circle. Sorry guys, my little brother's in the room. Oh, actually, this isn't fully dimensioned. Why is that? Because it can move up and down, which means I need to restrict it in its movement up and down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select which relation, guys? Which relation am I gonna set?
Horizontal?
Horizontal.
Yes. Good job, guys. Horizontal. So now I'm gonna apply basic geometry, right? And this is part of those things where it's kind of like your CAD intuition, right? I'm gonna select this here. I'm gonna select this perimeter. I'm gonna select this perimeter. And I'm gonna select 6, right? Because if I see this image, it is telling me it is 6 millimeters from the perimeter of the itty bitty circle to the outside of the entire thing, right? And I'm gonna make an assumption here and I'm gonna go, okay, the outside of this thing, if I were to like draw it out, if I were to follow the surface, it's actually an arc, which is actually a circle. So I'm gonna make 6. Boom, that's done. So now I'm gonna move out these dimension lines, right? Because remember, we want a nice tidy space. We want to make sure we can read everything. And I am gonna try and make these lines. Now, this is where your tangent relation comes in. I didn't touch on this when we were originally learning how to do these, but oh my God, what did I do? That was interesting. Let's zoom in here. Okay, so this is where your tangent relations kind of come in, right? So I'm gonna make this line here. Doesn't matter in what orientation you make it, just make the line. We can worry about giving it where to go, a purpose, so to speak, as we add our dimensions and as we add our relations. So I'm gonna go ahead here and I'm gonna make this line and this outside perimeter. Sorry guys, I know it's a little like cramped, but I'm gonna make this tangent. You see how now this line is right on top of the circle? That's exactly what I want. I'm gonna make this points and this perimeter. You see where it says coincident right here in my design tree that's all squished? I'm gonna press coincident. Boom, that's done. Oh, chat. Wait, can you do that one more time, please? Which one? The lines part? The making tangent part? Tom? Yes? Okay. Let's delete this line really quickly. Let's make this line again. Wait, can I? Ooh. And it didn't crash. Okay, that's sick. Oop, I moved it. Oh well. So, can you guys still see that? Oh, that's actually kind of better. Okay. I'm gonna make this line tell. You see how it doesn't matter in what direction I'm including this line? I'm just making the line. I want to add the tangent relation y. I should probably explain that. That's my bad. But it's a circle and it's a line. Tangent relation can only apply to a circle, like if I'm following the path of a circle, right? So I'm going to select the line itself, and I'm going to select this perimeter of a circle, and I'm going to select tangents. Can you do a mirror entity for the other line? Yeah, you can. Good catch. Yes, you can do a mirror entity for the other line once you have fully dimensioned this top line, because it's the same thing, right? We recognize that there is symmetry. Good catch, Adrian. So now I'm gonna do the same thing for this other line. Make a tangent. I'm gonna delete this line because we don't need this line. This blue line is of remnants of the other line that we had done before. So that's how we do the tangent relation. Did that make sense, Tal? Cool. Okay. So now there's these lines that are outward. I don't want them there. So I'm going to select the endpoint of that line. And I'm going to select the perimeter of this circle. Oh, I'm in trim. Oops, that's okay. To answer the question, okay, so the question was, when they did tangent for the second circle, the circle shrank. Is your circle fully defined? You don't have to answer on the general chat, by the way. You can answer to me directly. Stop. Because if your circle is not fully defined, then it might be a reason why it shrinks in size. I'll wait for you to answer me, but for now, I'm going to work on this line. So here, here. Ooh, it wasn't fully defined? Or it was fully defined? Was it fully defined? Yeah. Okay, so make sure it's fully defined first and then at the tangent relations. That's the thing about tangent relations. That's when order kind of comes into play when we're doing the that's when order comes into play when we're dimensioning sketches. For everything else, order shouldn't matter, but when we're doing tangent, Solidworks trips out because circles are always like unpredictable. So I'm actually going to follow Adrian's observation here, and I'm going to use the the mirror entity because I don't want to do this again. And it's a lot simpler. Cool. So I'm going to mirror entities. I'm going to mirror that line about this line. Cool. Everyone say thank you, Adrian, because he caught that super quickly. Okay.
How did
So now-
you, real quick, how did you fully define the tangent lines?
Tangent lines. Okay, so
Yes.
after pressing tangent line, it has to do to both circles.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to make the line coincident to the perimeter of the circle. That makes sense?
That's weird. I did that, but it's coincident to which circle? To the smaller circle?
So the endpoint of one line is going to be coincident to the smaller circle, and then the endpoint of the other line is going to be coincident to the bigger circle.
Gotcha.
How do you trim
So,
the excess?
how to trim the excess? Go ahead and go to trim entities. Select it, and then you can either use power trim, which is when you click down on the left side of your mouse and then just drag over the part that you don't want, or you could trim to closest, which just gets rid of a segment.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, how did you smart dimension the 6 in circles? Okay, so to smart dimension the 6 millimeters in distance for the circles, select the circle and then select the other circle. Because once you do that, Solidworks understands that you're taking the distance from perimeter to perimeter. That's a good question. Let me know if that works. I can also just show you without setting it. So smart dimension, right? I'm gonna select the perimeter of the inner circle and the perimeter of the outside circle, and it'll give me the option to dimension within the range of those two. Let me know if that worked for you. Person who sent me that. Okay. Is everyone caught on? Does everyone have this drawing on there? Cool.
How do we do the trimming again for that last part, like of the lines?
Yes. Okay. So let me first do the dimensioning real quick. Some other weird ones. That's iffy. Okay. So let's say that I'm not in smart dimension, right? I'm gonna click smart dimension. I'm gonna click on the perimeter of the circle, not the center of the circle. I'm not gonna click the center of the circle. I'm gonna click the perimeter. Then I'm gonna click the other perimeter, not the center of the circle, because these are concentric, right? The circles are within each other. So I'm gonna click it, and it should give me, you should see these 2 blue arrows pointing towards the perimeters of the circle. Yes. It doesn't do the same line, it's some other weird cross. Make sure you're in smart dimension. It sounds like you might be in a different feature. So go ahead and try that. And then let me know. To the person who asked me how to do the trim entities, I believe it was Tal. Let's say I have, let's just make another line here. Boop. Boop. Okay. Let's say I have this axis here that I don't want. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna either select power trim, which is just like a sword kind of going through the line, or I'm gonna select trim to closest, which will just get rid of the segment next to the segment up to the closest endpoint. I typically use power trim, so I'm gonna select power trim, and I'm just gonna drag it through. Did that make sense, Tal? Or rather, did that answer your question? Okay, cool. Okay, so now I'm gonna extrude, right? I want to extrude this. So I'm noticing, I'm gonna take a look here at this bottom left corner here. This bigger circle, the perimeter of this bigger circle, I'm seeing that there's a complete cutout through in the center, and then the perimeter that's dimensioned at 6 millimeters is raised up by 14. So I'm gonna go into my features. I'm gonna press extrude boss base. We'll wait for that to load. Okay, I'm gonna select the outside perimeter. Notice, ojo, it's highlighting the outer perimeter, right? Is everyone there? Cool. I'm gonna select it. It's giving me the preview, which is exactly what I want to see. And I'm gonna change the depth to 14. Boom. Now, I'm going to see. I don't think I can. No, I can't. Okay. I'm gonna press OK. Okay, don't freak out. The sketch is not gone. I just have to re-access it. So I'm going to press again on my extrude boss base. You see right here where it says part 1. I'm going to select at this bottom arrow here. Select down on boss extrude, right? And I'm going to select the sketch. Wait for that to load for a little bit. Okay. Your sketch should now be visible to you, right? So now I want to extrude this other part here that says 6 and 24. So if I'm imagining this to be like on the table, it's going to take some creativity from me, but I'm going to select, right, the contours. And I'm noticing that it's telling me it's going 6 upward and then 6 and then 24 downward, right? So this is where my directions come into play. My first direction is going 6. So I'm going to put 6 millimeters, right? And if I put this here like this, you'll notice that it's on that same plane as from where I extruded my 14 from the bigger circle. So now I'm going to select the second direction, right? Because it's telling me that it's also going 24 in the opposite direction. So I'm going to click direction 2 and I'm going to select 24. I'm going to type in 24. And now you'll notice it's doing the exact same thing in which it's telling me that it's going to go 24. So if I select this and I go, okay, I want this to be the final thing, you'll notice that, here, let me plane number 2. You'll notice how it has like that same setup as I do in the bottom left. The only thing I'm missing is the base, right? And that's the part that's a little bit tricky because we don't know where we want it. We don't know what type of orientation we have. But that is the reason why I selected the top plane, because the top plane is what I'm imagining to be like my baseline, so to speak. Does that make sense? I know it's a little bit confusing, but that's why sometimes we switch out the planes. I chose the front plane because I know that I can either extrude upward or extrude downward, but either way, it's going to be my baseline. You could have chosen any other plane, but just so long as you understand how much you're extruding by, that's all that matters. Is everyone at this step? Does that make sense? Yes? Cool. Okay. So I still need that little plank thing. So I'm gonna extrude boss base again. I'm gonna select my sketch exactly like I did last time. And all I'm gonna do is, while this loads, I'm going to select this center part, right? Notice that it only selects this contour. Why? Because because there's solid lines used to make the circles, it basically accounts this as its separate section. Does that make sense? If it would have been, if these circles, right, like from this perimeter, if I would have cut out a specific area, it would have counted it out as like an entire piece. But that's the reason why I used solid lines. Well, I just didn't have anything intersecting on it because I wanted it to register that it's one solid piece. I'm extruding this entire piece. I'm noticing that this little plank here is also 6 millimeters. And I know that because it's not varying in height with my other platform that I did previously, right? So I'm going to select 6 millimeters, which is already so wonderfully selected for me. And I'm going to press OK. When I select extrude boss base, it doesn't let me select my sketch. Let me run through how to select the sketch again. So you're going to select it, right? I'm going to click here on part 1 on my bottom circle. And I'm going to, you won't see it here. Well, I guess you could, but if you press down on the boss extrude one on the arrow, you'll see sketch 1. If you select sketch 1, it should allow you to view your sketch. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so now a very important thing. I don't want to see my sketch, so I'm gonna actually, oh, no, why are you doing that? Okay, so now if I put an isometric view here, isometric view just means like the standard view that which you view an engineering part. you'll notice that it looks the exact same way as the part that we have. Did that make sense to everyone?
Is there a way to extrude multiple times without having to go back to the sketch and extruding again?
Yes, I will do that one more time, Adrian. Let me answer Ryan's question real quick. To extrude multiple times, like, how do you mean? Can you give me an example real quick?
So like when you had your original sketch with like the big circle, the small circle, and like the in-between part, you went to like extrude boss base, right?
Mhm.
And then you had to select one circle, extrude that, and then finish the extrude, and then make the sketch visible again and go back to extrude the next part and then the next part. Is there a way to do it all at once without having to go back every single time?
The only way to do something all at once in SolidWorks when it comes to extrusions is if you're doing an opposite direction. And the reason is because SolidWorks can only read one at a time. So if they're all going in the same direction, if you're extruding them all in the same direction by the same length, then you can select multiple. But if you're going in opposite directions, then you can select different depths, but it doesn't mean that you can apply them all at the same time. Does that make sense? So like,
Okay, yeah.
okay. Someone wanted me to show how I extruded this longer piece. Let me show you. Okay. To extrude the longer piece, I used the direction 2 feature from the boss extrude features. Let me deselect it. Yes, I will show how I change the material. So let me delete this one and delete this one. So when we first open boss extrude, we're given the option to extrude in one direction, right? So I'm gonna select these entities. And you notice that I'm going 6 millimeters upward. But I wanted to extrude it this way. So I'm going to select direction 2. It's still highlighted, right? That's the reason why I can't, what's it called? Technically, like, select multiple at a time. Because SolidWorks reads it as, oh, okay, you're selecting this one, so therefore you want all of this, even though that's not the case. Sometimes I just wanted to go in one specific direction. So I selected those entities, and I wanted to go downward 24. And I just did that by selecting direction 2 and applying that to that same region. Yeah, okay, cool. So let's apply that. Someone wanted me to show how to edit material. To edit material, all you have to do is you go to your design tree, right? Which is this part here, the left side of your screen from SolidWorks. And you see here where it has like these 3 lines in this gear. Right click it, select on edit material, and it'll show you like a whole inventory of the possible things you could use. And it's divided into folders. So you have SolidWorks materials, and then it has the steel, iron, aluminum alloys, so on and so forth. And then if you can't find a specific one you want, you can just search on the little magnifying glass here. Did that make sense? Cool. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this specific part? Okay, so someone asked, how do you move around your screen to view your extruded bases at whatever angle? To answer that question, I'm gonna show you guys my mouse again. You see how it has this middle button right here? It's not even there, sorry. You see how it has this middle button? You can press down on it on your screen, and it should allow you to rotate your screen about. I glitched. If you guys didn't catch that, let me know. But if you guys want to see like a specific area, you may recall this specific cube. And to do that, you just go here at the bottom of where it says SolidWorks add-ins. And then you select on view orientation on this drop-down arrow. And then you select either or on these interfaces. And it should allow you to see like the multiple faces that you can see. Did that make sense? to the person that asked me? Cool. Okay. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay. Are there any more questions about this part specifically or about SolidWorks? Because I still technically have one more exercise you guys could do. It is hella cool. Okay. Do you guys want another example? I can give you guys like 10 minutes to work on that on your own.
Let's do it.
Yeah? Cool. Okay. So I'm actually gonna stop my share, prepare the slide for you guys, and then you guys can move on to practice on your own. So like I said, before I show you guys what your part is, I'm gonna show you guys one very important thing, and it's called global entities. I don't think you use it often, but I'm gonna show you guys either way because it's good to know. So sometimes you're gonna want to use variables because when you're working on sub-assemblies or like say you're part of a team and things are constantly changing, dimensions are constantly updating, it's really quick to change dimensions if you have something called global entities or global variables. So we're gonna click on tools here, follow along with me. Tools, you see where it says equations right here at the bottom of the selection for tools? Click on it. And you're gonna see here global variables. Click A. You can name your variable whatever you want. I usually just do like letters because it's easier. Let's say I want A to be 100 or like whatever I want. It's the unit value. You don't have to worry about applying the like millimeters or inches because SolidWorks accounts for that once you have set up your unit system right here, right? If you want to add another global variable, you just go on here or you click, like you select it, right? You add a value and it should open up another one as you go. Does that make sense, everyone? Does anyone have any questions about how to access this, how to edit it?
Can I do it one more time?
Yes, I can. Okay, so
Okay.
let's press cancel here. Yes. So let's go up here to the very top part of SolidWorks. You see where it says tools? When you click tools, go all the way down to where it says equations. Global variables is the one you want to edit. So click on it. Name it whatever you want. It's easier if you just do letters. Select enter or just click on the next one. And then you insert your value. So let's say I want 56. You don't have to worry about adding millimeters or inches or whatnot because SolidWorks already accounts for that when you're when you set up your unit system. The one thing you cannot add here directly, never mind. I take that back. You can just add the value and then SolidWorks knows exactly what unit system you're in because you set it up at the beginning of your document. Just press enter, and then when you press enter, it should allow you to add in another variable. That makes sense to you?
Yeah, totally.
Do you use that
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm reading a chat here to like generate lines that are shaped like those functions, like cosine wipes. Not necessarily, Adrian. You use it more when you need to like edit something really, really quickly, right? Like when you need to what's it called? Say you have a chassis and you have like tubes, right, that you need to weld. And then say they change it to like all the tubes from the right side need to be edited like 10 centimeters upward. And you dimension that with variable A, which is 56. If you go in and you just add in 10 to those, which is 56, like plus 10, right? It should allow you to to increase it. And it does so automatically because you applied a variable. So it's not necessarily like cosine or sine wave.
Gotcha. Is it like more used than like an assembly rather than like making a part?
You can use it in making a part. I don't think you usually use it in assembly. I use it more in a part. But like, let's say you see an error in an assembly and you need to edit the part really, really quickly. You need to change the dimension. When you have the global variables, it's really easy to edit.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Before I hand it off to you guys, I just want to show you guys where you can access your variables here. If SolidWorks, please don't crash on me. Okay. It will also appear in your design tree once you set up the equations. So go to your design tree. You see the folder that says equations. Right click it, manage equations, right? The very first option. Same thing, same spiel. Does that make sense, everyone? Cool. Okay. Let me start a new share with you guys so you guys can see what you guys are going to work on. I won't give you guys too much time to work on it, unfortunately, because we are running a little bit short on time. I want to respect you guys' time. So if Zoom could stop being so mean to me and allow me to share my screen, I'd greatly appreciate that. Okay. Can everyone see this screen? Yes?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. It is currently 8:48. I'm going to give you guys like 7 minutes on okay, just to try it out. Yes? Okay, I'll give you guys 7 minutes. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. You don't have to finish it. I understand it's like a whole new thing. But I just want you guys to like give it a shot, you know. Can you zoom in a bit? Yes, I can. Good catch. Take notice of the plastic part. Is that better, Adrian?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. So I'll give you guys 7 minutes. And I'll be here if you guys have any questions. Jonathan, to change units, you want to look at the bottom right corner. It should say IPS. If your SolidWorks is set up like that, click on it and it should show you all the options to change. Let me know if that worked for you.